Uja, Uben Nefer, Good Rising, Great Awakenings, Nehast. Well, here we are at Good Rising TV with a new format, and I think it's going to work out just fine. So we're going to dive right in. I've already posted the report, the analysis, and the explanation of the new format. So we're at the day of the full moon, full lunar eclipse. It's the ripening full moon. There's lots of different indigenous cultures that have this as a ripe full moon, corn ripening full moon, ripening full moon. So I'm just, rather than picking one, it's just the ripening full moon. And the eclipse takes place today between the hours of 2:31 and 4:15 Central Time, or 3:31 is the moment of the full eclipse. And people here in North America won't be able to see it. If you look at, well, I'm going to post a chart here, so it is also at the report where you'll be able to view the eclipse. And so the full moon is in the sign of Sidereal Capricorn, which is Dua Jehuti Dua Hupaneus, and the sun is in the sign of Sidereal Cancer, or Duara Kepra. And that points to a time of using our creativity to bring about transformation. And one of the things I commented on is that when we are in a transformation, that's when we're most creative. So that would mean this is a great time to dive into your creativity. Like if you're like me, you've been busy dealing with paperwork, this would be a great time to really, tap into that power or that frequency, because everything is about a frequency. And then, so that's the sun in Kepra, creativity, transformation. And then the other one is Jehuti, which is communication and technology and mobility. And then Sidereal Capricorn is about breaking free of limitations and, always striving to do more, be more, or do better. Not in a competition way, but just to do your best. So let's start with the self-care section. So we have Duara in Kepra, and we have the full moon. The moon is connected to the one for Kepra, the energy of Kepra. So it's a full moon, so we're going to use the white quarks. And synchronistically, Jehuti is associated with the full moon. Seshet at horoscope. Sesheta is with the new moon, but we're in the full moon. And we also have Jehuti in Hupaneus, and then we have the sun, or Ra, in Kepra. So the session that I wasn't able to post last week, because, I've been trying for 2 weeks actually. That's what's in my heart, is like a little bit of disappointment that I wasn't able to post it. But one of the messages was I had injured my back, and I realized that when I do a lot of work on the chakras, I also have to do work on the meridians and the extraordinary vessels to move whatever has been released. That was one of the lessons. So I'm going to make sure that I do that when I have clients, but I don't always do it on self-care. So yeah, so there's something going on with my heart. And then the lung points is where you can access the stored grief. The throat. Remember the intentions with creativity and transformation, and breaking through limitations with communication, or even breaking through limitations in communication. some of the lower chakras as well. And then connecting them. And then high frequency. And we'll remove the energy up. We're removing blocks, removing toxins, leftover negative thoughts that are no longer serving my creativity. And going through this intense transformation to awaken dormant creativity, because I know I could be doing more. Okay. So there's already a chant for this combination. Duara, 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 kepara. Duara, 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 kepara. Duara, 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 kepara. Duara, 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 kepara. Adorations to Ra, adorations to Ra in the form of the Creator. May we all find our path through transformation by expressing creativity, pouring forth from the cosmic mind. In this next segment, we'll be dealing with the actual eclipse with the moon and Capricorn. And so we're going to use the energy of Jehuti, because Mercury is also retrograde, and the full moon. But first we're going to work on the kidney meridian. I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to tell the whole story, but one of the reasons I was away is I had injured myself by taking guidance from someone that I didn't really know, and I didn't pay attention to myself, to my intuition. You know, I felt a red flag, and I disregarded it. So what I'm working on right now is removing whatever is blocking me from being closer to myself. You know, where I just one red flag, and that's it. Because this time it was too much. There's no reason for that to be happening. So I'm going to work on the kidney meridian right now. And I have the Saturn fork, which is associated with Capricorn, and the full moon fork. And then I also have Jehuti. You can't really see all the points I'm hitting. So here's the chart. It's this part. Isn't it the gushing? Pretty sure it's the gushing. It doesn't have the Chinese name there, but it's in which it's kind of like the ball of the foot where it gushes right there. So again, if you're doing self-care, you can use your tuning forks. If you don't have tuning forks, you can use acupressure. or crystals or stones. So when I do these meridian work, I just move along the meridian. You could just do some of the points, but I like to just move along the entire meridian area. And then use both sides, bilateral. So, like I said, I'm doing this to remove any obstacles that I have to fully trusting myself. Any obstacles I have to say no. Working to eliminate any obstacles that I have. Yeah, I'm just going to do the mid-range works. Any obstacles I have to, what does that meme say? Tolerating their frown when I put on my crown. When I'm being true to myself, it's hard for me to it was hard for me to make someone uncomfortable or inconvenience them. This applies to all kind of silly things like standing in line at the store or moving out of the way on the sidewalk. It's just, and then of course the big things where you put yourself in danger because you want to have a friendship with someone. All right, now just general sweep with the high frequency. Just eliminating any blocks to communication, any blocks to breaking beyond limitations, identifying obstacles and blocks and being able to remove them. I guess it's about being able to let go without experiencing pain, right? 'Cause that's what we're afraid of, is of the pain. Oh, okay, that's right. I just remembered that Jehuti, or Mercury, is in the sign of Sekhmet. That's why I had the sun forks. Everything is connected. We have the sun in Capricorn, which is the moon energy, and Jehuti is also the moon energy. And then we have the moon is in Saturn, and then Mercury is in the sun, which is associated with Ra. So it's a very interesting pattern. All right, so we have the full moon in sidereal Capricorn, which is associated with Geb. And so we have Jehuti and Geb. Om Jehuti Om, Om Geb Om, Om Jehuti Om, Om Geb Om, Om Jehuti Om, Om Geb Om, Om Jehuti Om. May we use our communication to have breakthroughs in the realm of the physical, material realm. Their communications bring about breakthroughs in communication. with ourselves and on one another. May we have breakthroughs and becoming closer to ourselves, listening to ourselves more, responding, not reacting, trusting and surrendering. Om Jyoti Om, Om Dev Om, Om Jyoti Om, Om Dev Om, Om Jyoti Om, Om Dev Om, Om Jyoti Om, Om Dev Om. For this last section, we're going to do the extraordinary vessels. Remember, when you see me doing these self-healing sessions, self-care sessions, it's also a session for you. And it's like I'm giving you a session, a healing session. So the extraordinary vessels we're going to use today are the Chong, which is for moving the chi energy between the kidneys, and it's for intergenerational patterns. And then it's called the grandparent-grandchild extraordinary vessels. Remember, the extraordinary vessels, I've spoken about them before. They're not connected to a particular organs like the meridians. They're connected to particular energy patterns and traits. So I have my little notebook here. And then I'm also going to do the die, which is for being stuck in frustration and trying to get through to things but cannot get to them. So I will post the chart on the video. And so this one is for the Mercury retrograde, because that is about, well, the eclipse is about uncovering things that are hidden because of the apparent covering and opening. And then with the eclipse, I mean the retrograde, if you look at the report on the retrograde season is here, you'll learn about the symbolism for retrograde, that it's similar to, well, it's the same as a symbol for prescription. And in the old days, a prescription were natural, healing, medicinal. Now that symbol is used by the pharmaceutical corporations. So, you know, the Mercury retrogrades and these other 6 or 7 retrograde heavenly bodies, it's really a portal opening for more understanding, more clear communication. Whatever the planet is, and whatever sign it is, you're just going to get more of it. It doesn't mean something terrible is going to happen because of that energy. It just means you're going to get a huge lesson. And getting all of these at once is intense. And I know I'm having intense experiences. So check out the retrograde season is here report, and the link is somewhere on the horoscope's analysis for the ripening full moon report. Okay, so we've got Mercury retrograde in Sekhmet. So the main thing about this combination is from the myth of Hetadu and Jehuti, which I don't know if I have it posted anywhere in its entirety, but you can find it in the Glorious Light Meditation book by Dr. Maud Ashby. At some point, I'll have to share it. All right. So we've got Jehuti, which represents Mercury, and Sekhmet, which is Sidereal Leo. So we have this Mercury retrograde going on in Sidereal Leo. And I'm going to start with the Chong point for the space between the kidneys and the grandparent-grandchild phenomena. And I'll show you the chart once more time. It's a little tricky doing the self-care with these extraordinary vessels, but it's so worth it. Like I say, if you can't do the tuning forks, you just do acupressure or crystals, stones. You can visualize the tuning forks. I mean, the most important thing is that you activate these energy centers and energy points. So I'm just doing low, mid, high frequency today for some reason. Doing that. The die also starts on the foot. So when they both start on the foot, you have to use opposite sides. There we go. Oh, sorry. There we go. All right, so this one is for getting rid of that stuck energy, that frustration where you don't know how to move forward. You're unable to move forward. Like that phenomenon I have of not listening to those red flags. I even have a song about red flags. I should know this by now, you know? Oh, wait. No shoulds. Okay. Alright, so, you know, there's so many planets that are retrograde right now. Rather than doing individual chants, I'm going to do something that I enjoy doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a chant for the Aeneid, and as you hear the chant, try to visualize the different netters like entering into your space or wakening them up inside of you. Just visualize them inside of you or coming into this area. It's kind of like a procession. And you know, we just recently observed the Kemetic New Year, which is in alignment with Sirius Rising. You have the Aeneids from Nut. Each day has a different day honoring their birth, and then it ends with the rising of Sirius. So we're in the days of Sirius rising, and And on the page about the ripening full moon, you can find some links about Ceres rising. So now I'm just going to do a chant for the Aeneid. And I want to make sure I cover the ones that are retrograde. And then I may do a few others. Okay. And you can only see 2 of them, but I'm actually going to be playing 3 drums. It's something I just recently started doing. Pretty much the same thing, only these are the Aeneid of the Kemetic New Year. The first piece was the planets that have their portals open, or they're all retrograde. Webu Heb. Happy Kemetic New Year. Hatep. All right, so that's going to wrap up our edition for the ripening full moon. I can certainly feel things in my life ripening, and as they say, getting juicy. You know, it's getting to the test where I have to really trust my faith and trust in my traditions and who I am and in myself more than I ever have before. I've always flaked out at the last minute. I'm just being really real. So we're at this time, and you know, like I've mentioned before, the Wi-Fi here where I'm at is not consistent enough to do the live streaming, and I never really know how long it's going to take to upload the videos. So I'm going to do my best to have the analysis posted on Friday mornings and Tuesday evenings, and the video posted as soon as possible. And this is a little special edition because of the eclipse full moon tonight. I'll probably have a recap first thing in the rising. Okay, so welcome back to Good Rising TV, and have a wonderful, glorious, ripening full moon eclipse. Even though you can't see it, you'll feel it. All right, Hatep, oneness, one love.